Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Tuesday, February 11, 2020. This is my post-market wrap-up. I didn't even have the strength to draw anything here for you. I like to put things up there, but look, today was a day that I think really should be one for the history books. And I have a lot to talk about with you. Actually, it is one for the history books. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ just closed at new record highs. Again, you're not surprised about this. I told you yesterday that this was going to continue, and it will. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed fractionally lower, but there too, new record highs are coming. People, how do I put this? All right, I'm just going to say it directly and straight. Right now, today, the most powerful organization, institution on earth is the Federal Reserve. And tomorrow, I'm going to give you a clue. They're going to be even stronger and more powerful than they are today. What else can I say here? Why is this? All right. What do we know? Okay. And what do most people not know? There is a misguided bunch of people out here. They're deliberately misguided by several YouTube channels. I'm going to call them out. Who are trying to explain this, that the reason why we are seeing President Trump not say a word with regard to the epic sums of debt that the Fed is pumping into this market, why it seems that the president is calling for more debt. I mean, pretty much every time he has a microphone in front of his mouth, we need to lower rates, negative rates. People believe that what the president is doing is forcing the Fed to print more dollars because this is going to make them weaker or more vulnerable. No. This is completely, absolutely, and totally wrong. Those particular YouTube channels that are pushing that narrative do not understand central banking, nor do they understand the multi-decade plan that is in effect, that has been in effect, and is now coming true right here. The Fed's goal is to issue more debt. It's their only product. The more debt the Federal Reserve or any central bank issues, the stronger they become, the greater their stranglehold on not just the citizens. When we're talking about the Federal Reserve, we're talking about a poisonous web around the entire world. Why? The Federal Reserve, the US dollar, is still the world reserve currency. Let me explain this to you. The Federal Reserve has had no two better best friends than Barack Obama and Donald J. Trump. What do we know about Barack Obama? Barack Obama outspent every single U.S. president before him ever in history combined. And President Donald J. Trump is on pace to outspend him in a shorter period of time. This should be no surprise to you. I've explained to you since time immemorial that the amount of debt that must be borrowed into existence has to be increased exponentially. Every single president, just to keep where we are sustained, Without it, Mad Max. Now, again, the complete and utter falsehood is that President Trump is forcing the Fed to issue more dollars so he can take down the Fed. This is the biggest laughable joke that has ever been shoved down the throats by a YouTube blogger in the history of the world, or Q, or whatever it might be. Again, let's look at my record real quick. I have called the Federal Reserve better than any man, woman, child, thing on the planet. There's nobody better. I have got the Fed wrong once in all these years. Let's talk about my record with regard to other assets. In the past year alone, I have gotten 2 things wrong. 2. And that's all. Most recently, the fall with crude oil. I did not see it coming. Number 2. The first thing I got wrong about a year ago. I said the market was looking as if it were about to fall. What happened the same time period that I had said that? President Trump sent Steve Mnuchin out to the 6 Wall Street banks that run the Fed and said, start buying stocks. So, of course, I got that call wrong. I got 2 calls wrong in the last year. 2. What that makes me is the best market caller on the planet. I am the number one Wall Street guy in the world. Nobody has gotten it better than, not even JP Morgan Chase or Goldman Sachs have got the market called better than me. That's the truth. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just telling you the facts. Period. You don't believe it? You're new here? Ask any of my followers. Ask any of my lions that have been with me since forever. Okay. So what I am telling you, I am explaining to you from a perspective that I know what I am talking about. The fact that we have the last 2 presidents issuing in more debt than we have ever seen, and recently it's off the charts, should tell you something. This is not a grand plan to take down the Fed. It can't be done. The Fed cannot ever run out of digits to add to a screen. It can't happen. Every time they hear the president or anyone calling for more debt, calling for lower rates, nothing on the planet can make a central banker more happy, especially in this environment where the final solution is being instituted. The final solution is to erase the middle class by issuing in more debt on an epic scale. Again, why? To catch everyone off guard as the stock market becomes inflated, hyperinflated on the back of a mega inflated debt bubble. Again, we've seen this before. The government and the Federal Reserve is the government, okay? They are serial bubble blowers. They deliberately inflate a bubble and then they deflate that bubble. They catch everyone off guard time and time again as the Wall Street banks short the market, and they don't get in trouble for it. What did Goldman Sachs have to pay? $6 billion, I think it was. It might have been $6 million. I think it was $6 billion for betting against their own clients. $6 billion? You've got to be kidding me. Even if it was $6 billion, even if it was $60 billion, you've got to be kidding me. Okay? The same thing is going to happen here. Now, I'm going to let you in on a big clue. Actually, 2 big clues. The next 2 elections have already been decided. Okay. You will be told what they are officially this next election on November 3rd, when it will be announced that President Donald Trump has won the election by a landslide. It's going to be epic. Remember, I'm telling you this. Okay. Now, what's going to happen during his tenure? I'm going to tell you right here and right now, and then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen after his tenure is over. President Trump is going to win the election by an absolute landslide. It's already been decided. The president already said he's the chosen one. He is telling you the truth. Here, the president is telling you the truth. He is the chosen one. He's been, again, there are no elections. You have no voice and you have No choice. The next two elections have already been decided. Let's stick to Donald Trump. Donald Trump will win the next election by an epic landslide. Okay. During his tenure, you are going to see the current debt expansion cycle get larger, much larger, much larger. Okay. Beyond anyone's wildest dreams larger. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you are hoping that that's going to be when he ends the Fed. That's when he issues in a new gold standard. You are being lied to. You are being misled. Okay? Use your own intellect. Think about what I am telling you. Does it seem logical that this would happen when the multi-decade plan of the Federal Reserve has been to do what they're doing right now, to issue in this new world order that we have right now? It's not coming. It's here now. All right. Now, to push this home, you're going to see this debt expansion cycle continue throughout this term of the president and the next, but to a much greater degree. Much more debt is going to be piled on. Dollar devaluation is coming. Negative rates are coming. The grand fleecing of whatever is left of the middle class is going to occur over the next several years. A complete wipeout of the middle class is already upon us. There's very few members, real middle class members left. Most people are borrowing beyond their wildest dreams. As a matter of fact, we found out today, I'm going to read a few things for you, just so bear with me. Record debt for the American people. It's an incredible and very sad situation. And I'm going to go over Yellowstone a little bit, his big testimony today. So President Trump won the next election, and you can expect massive amounts of debt to be acquired during the rest of this tenure and his next. After that, a Democrat is going to win. It's already been decided. And what will happen at that point? We are going to get, again, more debt acquisition on an unprecedented scale somewhere in here. And I don't know when. I'm being honest with you. But I'll let you know, believe me. And how will I let you know? Because I've been telling all of you to stay long this market. Since when? Since Donald Trump got elected. I was one of the first guys, if not the first guy on the planet to say publicly on Greg Hunter's show, right after the election, that stocks would vault higher. I got laughed at. I got ridiculed. And was I wrong? No, again. In the past year alone, I've been wrong twice. I have the best record on Wall Street. Nobody can come close. Now, I don't pull all this stuff out of a hat. Maybe it's possible. Maybe. You make up your own mind. That I get some advanced knowledge here. I'll let you ponder that. But I'm telling you how this is going to play out. Somewhere in here, we are going to get a market crash, the likes of which the world has never seen before. It's going to be epic on a grand scale. Again, it's engineered to do this. This is a deliberate act. Hyperinflate the debt bubble, like we're seeing now. Pull stocks up with more debt. Tell everyone that our economy is booming. It couldn't do any better than it is. And as our economy, in reality, free falls, the stock market will continue higher because of more debt. More debt. More debt. Look, people, it's over. It's 100% over. Whatever you thought may happen if you've been misled by several YouTube channels, it's time to wake up. I'm telling you right here and now how this is going to work. Save this video to your computer. Come back to it, and you will see that what I am outlining is 100% true. You're going to go, how did he know that? That is the question, isn't it? Okay, so let's move forward here, people. Metals got hit today. Bitcoin well over 10,000 again. It's going much higher as the Ponzi scheme around us. That's all it is. continues. Now, I want to read a few things. I know this is a long video, but bear with me here. I want to go over some of the news today. Big thing was Powell's testimony before Congress. And I don't know how many of you wanted to vomit as you were hearing the ass kissing going on. I mean, they're all, for the most part, they're kissing the man's ass. Why? They know who rules the world. It is the Federal Reserve, the central banks of central banks. Now, right off the bat here, Powell had said, this is a quote, "Current monetary policy will likely remain appropriate." I mean, that's very ambiguous, but I kind of translated this. This is the translation. Appropriate? What he means, this is me, I'm reading this. What he means is he will continue to issue in epic sums of debt to fulfill the multi-decade plan of the Fed, to be the lender and buyer of last resort. America, its citizens, and the world are in serious trouble. Welcome to the New World Order. I go on to say, now, how many of you caught the, an hour's worth of testimony which was dedicated to the coronavirus? You need to stay afraid of the coronavirus. They were asking a central banker what he's going to do about the coronavirus. I want you to ponder that. So I write, Powell says, the Fed is monitoring the coronavirus. Now I want you to think about that for a moment. The only reason for him to say that the Fed is monitoring the coronavirus is he's signaling to the market that he is ready to pump even more debt into the system. Just like I said would happen in a recent video. Now you heard it out of his mouth, okay? Here's a big story which got almost no coverage. Look it up for yourself. Job openings in the United States now fall to a 2-year low. It's unbelievable, people. Now look, let's go back to the coronavirus because there was a lot. Remember to stay afraid. The solution which will be given to pile on more debt, which is the end goal of the Fed, will be to blame the virus for a need for a rate cut. And a rate cut this year is a 100% lock. Now, I already talked about this, but I want to say it again. The tag team which Obama and Trump have become is epic. Both presidents helping the Fed to fulfill their destiny, to become the lender and buyer of last resort. The final nail into total debt slavery. No two presidents, this is a fact, have issued in more debt than these last two. Never has the Fed been more powerful than it is today. We lose. I don't know another way to put it here. And I want to read this to you again to push this point home. Here is how this will play out. Trump won the next election by a large margin. The public will be told about it on November 3rd. A truly epic amount of debt will be piled on during that tenure. Then a Democrat will win, further compounding the debt load to an even greater amount. This is the end game. The final solution of the Federal Reserve, a multi-decade plan to be the lender and buyer of last resort. Nothing can stop this process from playing out. Absolutely nothing. And we lose. Here's another story that got very little coverage today. Household debt jumps the most in 12 years. This is a report from the Federal Reserve. And believe me, nothing can make them more happy. It's incredible. Now, here's something else that I found incredible. In one breath, the Fed chair today said the banks are sufficiently capitalized. And then in the next breath, he says this: appropriate reserves should be reached mid-year. Now, let me ask you, tell me again why we, the people, are recapitalizing the banks. Again, a bailout happened right under your nose. I told you about it 8 months ago or so when it happened, and right here, the Fed chair is saying in one breath, the banks are sufficiently capitalized, but then in the next breath, appropriate reserves should be reached by mid-year. What he's telling you is he's going to pump the banks with more capital. If we're doing so well and our economy is booming, why do they need more capital? You want to explain that one to me? People, I could go on and on. Let me say this too, and I posted this earlier. People, I don't know how to say this another way. And if this video gets pulled, oh well, at least some of you are going to get to see it. We need a revolution in this country like you have no idea. Even that won't help. We have lost. We have lost to the highest order. And the New World Order is not something that's coming. It is here now. There are no elections. Every decision is made for you now. You're told what to do, when to do it, what to think, and you're being misled by not just the mainstream media, but by YouTube channels that are pretty big out here. It's time to really shut them down, let me tell you. It's really the truth. I went over my 2 wrong calls this year, okay? No one can be 100%, but I'm the best guy on Wall Street. You're looking at him right here. All right, look, I don't want to cover any more of this because I can't take it anymore. And this video is getting awfully long. But I want to leave you off with this. The Federal Reserve is now the most powerful organization on earth. Not only do they control your mode of transaction, which basically runs your life, they also, because of the petrodollar, have the entire arsenal of the United States military at their beck and call. And they will use it against anyone they want to, even American citizens if they have to, at one particular time. And tomorrow, they will be stronger. Next week, the Federal Reserve will be even stronger than that. They are absolutely invincible. They are absolutely unstoppable. And I want you to remember that too. All right, with that said, people, look, please share this video. Get it out there. I think it's very important. Think about the concepts I've spoken about here. Honestly, ponder my record. Think about if what I am saying to you makes sense. All right? I am very sorry to tell you that you are now existing in an environment that we all knew was coming. And there's no reason to wait for it anymore because it's here now. I am talking about the New World Order. I'll see you in the morning. I'm out of here.